Hi, I'm Captain Tripp with Boat Test, and today we're on Grady-White's Canyon 386. This boat is an ultimate fishing machine, but it also lends a lot for maybe day trips on the water or multi-days on the water. Because with this new hull cap design, which I'm gonna get into, it has a large cabin below. Now today, we're gonna get out, run the boat, get some numbers, see how she handles, and go through all the features. Let's go. So it's a little dicey out here today, but we're gonna see how she handles in these conditions. Maybe 2 foot. We've already been running a bit, so I've got a feel for her, and she feels really good. So coming up on plane, nice and easy. I've got about 40% trim tab down. I'm running about, that was trimmed all the way down. Now we'll trim her up just a grunt. Bring that bow up a little better attitude in this chop. And one thing that I've noticed that I really like is for such a large boat, she corners pretty well. I mean, really tight corners are nice and she doesn't slow down and get really sluggish. And coming out of the hole, nothing to it.
The Canyon 386 stretches to an overall length of 36 foot 6 inches without the engines. She boasts an impressive 13 foot 2 inch beam and 28 inches of draft with the motor trimmed up, and her weight coming in at 14,950 pounds without the engines. During our test, with 3 of us on board and the fuel tank 25% full, the estimated weight was around 17,150 pounds. She's powered by triple 450 V8s with 16 3/8 by 21 XTO SDS props, which when pushed to the limit hit 6,000 RPM and propelled the boat to 62.1 miles an hour. For those seeking the sweet spot for cruising, it's at about 3,500 RPM, clocking in at 33.2 miles an hour. At this pace, it's running right at 1 mile per gallon. This means that you can venture up to 369 statute miles, leaving a 10% reserve of its 410-gallon fuel tank. As for its acceleration, it hits 20 miles an hour in 5 seconds and 30 miles an hour in just 8.7 seconds. Even in our rough testing conditions, I was really impressed by the soft and stable ride the CV2 hull provided. This is achieved by the moderate dead rise at the stern, which steadily increases forward to the bow. The bow flare, high freeboard, and chine angle allow more V in the water for a smoother ride, and 2 strakes and a chine cut through the waves, providing lift, stability, and a dry ride. This unique hull form and variable dead rise of the CV2 hull gave this boat incredible tracking in quartering and following seas.
Alright, well we got a pretty good feel to how the legendary CV2 hull performs. Now we're in a little bit calmer water. Let's dig into the features of this thing. Earlier this morning, we did have to take on a couple 100 gallons of fuel, but it was convenient because there's actually a fuel fill both port and starboard, so it didn't matter when pulling to the fuel dock the orientation of the boat. Cockpit doors, both port and starboard. This is great for maybe bringing in that big catch or easy access to the dock. At the transom, the triple Yamaha 450 V8s certainly stand out, and they push the boat along very well. Now there's also shore power connection and a diesel fill for our generator. They've also included individual freshwater flush ports for the engines. In the cockpit sole, there's a large access hatch to our mechanical locker. Here we find the Seakeeper and diesel generator, as well as all of our other maintenance items and storage for the swim ladder. If you look at the bottom of the bilge, quite a ways down there, that's our seacocks. Well, those are very important to get to in some instances. Well, Grady-White has thought of that. You think your seacocks are easy to access? No, this is easy. Access right here. Along the transom is Grady-White's patented aft folding bench seat. I do like the way that it reveals. It's a little bit easier than some of them I have to really give some heft to. But now, in the bottom cushion, there's actually 2 different densities of foam here. We kind of have this bottom bolster. It's a little higher, but it's a softer foam, and that's going to kind of keep you locked in a little better. And the backrest is actually angled back for a little more added comfort. They've also put some generous fishing features in here, like both port and starboard dedicated tackle storage. There's also twin 35-gallon live wells back here. But then on the center line, there's a 291-quart fish box, and this is refrigerated with a Dometic system. The starboard live well has a sacrificial cutting board on top, so if that gets messed up, maybe you're catching too many fish, you can easily replace that. Another Grady detail is all of their hatches are equipped with solid stainless steel gas struts. These are going to last. And something else I want to mention here on the transom, hot and cold freshwater washdown. Just behind the helm seats is the rigging station with a Borean countertop. Hidden underneath, you have a sink and an electric grill. So whether you want that tuna ceviche or grilled, you can have it either way. There's also a trash can all the way to starboard. Large grab handle and speakers on the face here, as well as convenient storage. There are numerous cup holders on this boat, but we're adding 4 more right here at the lean bar. There's also 6 more rod holders and a tool and knife storage. As you can see at the helm, it currently doesn't have any MFD screens, but the way that Grady-White does this is they leave that open to the buyer. You can also see that there are a lot of stainless steel tactile buttons lined up along this carbon fiber finish. We have an induction charger, dual USBs, cup holders, air conditioners, our Yamaha digital gauges, and then we also have Yamaha's controls along with a joystick. Bennett trim tabs, Lumar bow thruster, and our Fusion head unit. Up on the dash is a compass, which is good to see because some brands have actually stopped doing that these days. Now, this brings my gaze up to the modern and sleek wraparound windshield that is integrated nicely into the console. The T-top has some other features like this overhead storage. There's also speakers for our Fusion head unit, a skylight or roof vent overhead, and a zipper pouch. This has been a good spot for us to be storing our PFDs in and out so they don't just take up space on the boat. Handholds have been cleanly integrated into the superstructure, and it's also painted with automotive paint. There's also this handrail up on the T-top all the way forward. There's always somewhere to hold on to when you're on this boat. There's also a canvas enclosure that you can have. Maybe you have a little more of a not so great weather day, those would be good. But on those fair weather days, there is an electric opening vent in the front. On the back of the T-top, you can see floodlights. There's also some on the front. There's 6 rod holders, an electric sure shade, and our outriggers. While this is a hardcore fishing machine, it's also very family friendly, and the bow is a good example of that. Now earlier, I was actually sitting here while we were underway offshore, and it was very comfortable. A lot of times you may sit in a seat, and you may kind of feel yourself sliding down. You know, here with this contour and the lumbar support, I can actually sit here and totally relax, and I still feel secure. There's also flip-up armrests, grab handle, accessory tray, and cup holder. There's grab rails throughout this boat, and I like how these are somewhat recessed. Of course, when you're lounging at the bow, you need some cup holders, and this is nicely placed. And also want to mention that they all drain overboard, not into the bilge. There's also pole sockets for our easy up bow shade and plenty of rod holders throughout the boat. They also took their time to think about storage up here at the bow. There's also a raw water outlet here at the bow in case your catch makes a mess, and then horizontal rod storage under the gunnels. The 3D6 has the same proven CV2 hull design, but they were able to re-engineer the deck mold to gain more usable interior space. And one of the places you can see that is now the entrance to the cabin is actually here at the helm. Now, as we go down below, you'll be able to see a little bit more of just how much more spacious it is. So there is a lot of interior volume down here, and not only is that because of the deck cap like I spoke of, but this boat has about 1.5 feet more beam than most boats in this class. Headroom up to the skylight is about 6'5" inches. That's gonna let in some natural lighting. We also have some recessed light for when it's dark out. Now there's also a galley here, which you can get some things done on. Microwave oven, storage shelf with some backlighting, a small galley sink, and another storage cubby behind. I have a grab rail, which is good to see in the cabin, and then pull out refrigeration. All the way forward is a large berth that can be converted into a dinette. Now this is a luxurious table with some nice inlays as well as the Grady-White logo. There's also bolsters on the back for whenever you want to sit back and relax. There's also rod storage, both port and starboard, as well as air conditioning vents. With the berth converted, there's 6 foot 3 inches of headroom to this point. There's also USBs both sides as well as an AC outlet. The cabin sole is solid teak and there's easy access to the bilge below. 4 rod holders with bungees here to hold them in place. 2 drawers for storage, a small shelf, and a flat screen TV. There's also another port light on the port side. For those in your party who like a little more privacy, it does have a fully enclosed dedicated head. For a boat this size, a dedicated head is something to be appreciated. Some of the features in here are, of course, a mirror, some natural lighting with a shade, a little shelf up here for your accessories, countertop, storage underneath, stainless steel sink, a porcelain head, and look here, a shower to rinse off after a long day on the water. There's convenient access to our electrical panel, as well as air conditioning controls and controls for the aft cockpit cooler, as well as a fuel gauge for our diesel generator. There's a lot of features on this 386 to like, but the one thing is that CV2 hull. It truly is a difference that you need to feel for yourself. I'm Captain Trip with Boat Test. Remember, life is better on a boat.